Hey, what's going on, my friend? I'm Juan Pablo, and this is
Ryan C. Ryan Ketchens, Workflow Ryan, Hollywood Ryan, whatever you want to call it.
Right. He's an integral part of our company, but we're here to share with you some valuable information about how you, yes, you can get out of the dip, the plateau in your business. So,
Absolutely.
Ryan, can you please share with the listeners what you do with the company?
Okay, excellent. Guys, I am Ryan Ketchens. I am the COO, and that's the Chief Operating Officer here at 100% Finance. Now, I know you probably imagine, hey, well, what does a COO do? And that's a really great question because I had to find out on my own. And just in case you didn't know, there's very little documentation on the role of Chief Operating Officer. While on the other hand, Juan's position, Chief Executive Officer, is plenty of information out there for you to find out how to do that. And that makes the COO position a little bit or a lot of bit, right, more tricky. So it's about 10 to 13 different roles you can have as a COO, which is why it's extremely important that you discuss with your CEO as well as the leadership team of your company what exactly the COO is going to be doing. And I'll give you an example. Your position for the COO could be a temporary position for developing a new income stream. So as an example, I could be a sales master to where we need to really pump up the sales volume and integrate some new products. So I may just be placed in the COO role as a temporary position. On the opposite end, you could have a permanent position for a COO where this person is actually being groomed to become the CEO for an upcoming retiring CEO. So being that there's so many different options or so many different roles that you can play as a COO, again, it's vital that you always define with specificity exactly what you're going to be doing. So here at 100% Finance, what I do is literally see every project process from inception to completion. So with that said, we're a former startup company, now a small business. So this means that we do 4 things on a daily basis. And that's, the first thing would be creating, right? The second, developing. Third, managing. And the fourth, which is what we're really trying to work on now, is the scaling. So of course, if you had a traditional 9-to-5, you're only working on one thing. So if you ever wonder how that person that you thought didn't have any talent is running a multi-million-dollar company, it's because they're only managing. They're not doing any creating, not doing any developing, and they're surely not doing any scaling because this is given to them. Now in our situation as a small business, we actually are, challenged with doing all 4. So being that we're doing all 4, my priority right now is, I guess, all 4 actually. So yeah, that's
especially where the operations is concerned as well.
Absolutely.
So that's the key operative word, in my opinion, the Chief Operational Officer, right? And you mentioned scaling, so that could be one reason why most companies have a hard time getting out that dip, getting over that plateau, correct?
Absolutely, and you got to keep in mind it's only 4% of businesses that actually make it to that $1 million mark, even less that make it to the $10 million mark. And the reason is because they're unable to scale. Usually, if you're in a position where you can't scale, is due to lack of standard operating procedures,
SOPs.
Is lack of workflow, and so many other things that go into it. But those are the 2 main things that don't allow you to scale your business and take it to the next level.
Okay, so prior to being a COO, what was your previous position?
So I was in sales, which I still am in sales because sales is a lifelong skill. But when you specifically are focused on hand-to-hand transactions, whether it be B2B or B2C, is usually a single focus. So when we come in the morning meetings, we come in and say, hey, what's your main thing? And I was driving revenue. But being that I transitioned from sales to now operating officer, it's a completely different outlook that I have to have, more of a holistic view of the company and everything or every aspect of the company, including people, processes, and products.
So do you think it's at a company owner's detriment or a CEO or COO's detriment to be focused on increasing sales to get out of that plateau instead of being efficient where the operations is concerned?
Well, that's a really great question. So not putting the sole focus on sales, right? Because sales is going to be, or income generation is going to be a result of you taking care of the processes, the people, and making sure you're putting a quality product out there. So in this case, you want to keep the sales manager, the sales director, solely focused on driving revenue, getting their people, sharp and ready every day to make sure we're making money. But from the operating standpoint, you only want to, that's only one metric. Now it's my favorite metric or my favorite measurement or instrument of success to show how successful we are, but by no means is it the most important or the only measurement. Those standard operating procedures, managing those workflows, making sure your people know exactly what's going on at every given time, or any given time rather, that's going to be the main things.
Okay, and what tips do you have for that entrepreneur out there who has a small team, maybe 5 or fewer team members? What tips do you have on how they can get over that dip, over that hump?
Oh, good. So I got a few of them. The first thing is going to be value centricity. So I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with value centricity, but just imagine value and electricity, you putting those things together. And what I mean by value centricity is you are making with absolute certainty the goals and most important things to your team, right? Your employees, your staff is directly aligned with the same goals and the priorities of the company. So if it's like this, right, energy cannot flow. If the staff's values are much different than the company's values, then you'll have a lot of friction there. However, if you're making sure that you're employing and empowering people and also that their values align with the company values, then you'll have what's called value centricity, where you have that steady flow of energy, which is money, success, great company culture, those types of things. Now, number 2, that's going to be risk. Anytime you get in that situation where you feeding, let's say 5 to 6 to 7 people and putting food on their plate and making sure they're going home very happy, you always got to understand that it's still a level of risk that you may have to take as a startup business, because you're not always going to be in a situation to where you can afford or make the money before you can spend the money. So part of that risk is going to be an investment, whether it be time, whether it be funds, or any other sort of investment you can make into your company. So don't be afraid to take that risk and then make that investment, whatever it is, in order for you to take it to the next level. And I give you an example how it can be money. Let's say you need to upgrade your system, and let's say that system is twice the amount that you have currently in your budget for new operating systems. Well, if you do your due diligence and you see that, hey, if we make this investment, even though we don't have it now, even though we have to borrow from a bank, business credit, things like that, if we make this investment, we can quadruple our income over the next 3 months. Well, in that case, that's a decision that you should make. Another type of investment, so let's say number 2, you are in a position to where you hire a new employee. And you say, hey, this person worked a little bit too slow, I'm more diligent, so let me go ahead and get these things knocked out. Well, yes, at that point, you're getting those things knocked out. However, if you're not making that investment into your new hire, then you'll never be able to release yourself or relieve yourself from those duties for which you hired the person in the first place. So knowing when to take that risk and actually taking it. So before you take any risk, keep in mind, we spoke about due diligence. So make sure you take care of that.
Okay, excellent. So 3 great tips for a person to get out that dip, out that plateau. Now, I'm speaking to you business owners out there, you CEOs out there. It's very difficult to think about getting into risk, hunkering down, spending money to expand, get that resource that totally need a new hire, because you're so focused on profit. You're so focused on growth. And you're not focused on solidifying the fort, having a sound foundation. And he and I, we had a lot of arguments about that, right?
Yeah, a lot of back and forth.
Right, a lot of back and forth, right? Because I'm thinking like, no, we have to be focused on this. He's like, bro, I get that, but it doesn't make sense if the one customer support person we have is like carrying this heavy load.
Right.
We have to support the back and then the front. Meaning
Absolutely.
we have to solidify customer support before we focus on hiring a new sales representative. right? So if you are in a startup in a business and you have a few team members, I highly recommend that you have a great partnership, a great relationship with someone who can be the CEO and the COO, and the two of you have great debates with each other and talk it out. Be very authentic with each other, be very transparent, don't hold anything back, and be willing to fall back if need be.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it takes that.
It does, and that communication is key, and that's why you have to have these discussions prior to placing somebody in that position moving forward. Because when we do have those conversations, we already know it's coming, because this is what I'm here for, right? And you always have to have that person with their head in the cloud, so to speak, but then making sure you have the other person that's able to ground. So if you have that tandem, we operate more so of a two-in-the-box style, and so you may want to look that up in terms of COO-CEO relationships, and it's going really good.
Yes. So let me tell you how he actually got promoted actually from sales manager to COO. Before we conclude this video, we were having a conversation, and I just asked him randomly, "What's your focus?" There was no context given. There was no prior conversation. That was just the start of the conversation. What's your focus? And your response was,
I can't remember.
Effectiveness.
Effectiveness, absolutely.
And it shocked me. I said, what do you mean by effectiveness, right? And he said, effectiveness, not just in my department, sales, but marketing. I think marketing could be doing a better job. And no offense, Juan Pablo, the events as well. I think they could be done a tad bit better. And I also think, and he just kept moving forward. So even though he was mastering one department, he said, you know what? I want to take control and make sure everything is operating effectively. And I said, Eureka. That's CEO material.
I agree. And that was just a natural thing for me, to really take pride and ownership, not only in what you're doing, but what the people are doing around you. Lou Holtz, this guy is a renowned football coach and now television anchor. And what he says is that on good teams, the coach holds the players responsible. However, on great teams, the players hold one another responsible. And always having that mindset when I was coming in on a daily basis allowed me to get, even if it was just a little bit of insight into what everybody was doing, and helped me create a vision for myself and goals for myself to be able to take that next level. So a lot of people tell you here, prior to me taking on the position, they already felt like that was my position. So whatever it is that you want to do, just seize it. And effectiveness is thriving, whereas efficiency is only survival. So effectiveness is truly something that we're doing here at 100% Finance.
Yes, and once we switch gears, not to say that we just stayed away from revenue. We're still revenue focused, right? We want to close sales, close deals.
Absolutely.
But we did have to have a mindset change and say, hey, operations is very important. Mm-hmm. Hey, monitoring our costs is extremely important as well. Because how do you make any asset more profitable? Two-pronged process. Improve revenue, decrease expenses. And you can decrease your expenses by making your operations more efficient.
Airtight.
Airtight, yep. Using technology, getting the right people, making sure they're trained, they're developed, and having that good tandem where it's like, okay, I had this idea, hey, I had this idea. Hey, let's hash it out and see if we can come to a happy medium. Because at the end of the day, we all succeed. Right? So hopefully you will succeed in your business. And if you have any questions on how to get started with a business, how you can make it more profitable, we're here to help. We're a resource. We have business funding to help you get your business off the ground if you need capital. Just apply using the link below. Any final words of wisdom?
Good luck to all you entrepreneurs out there, everybody with the vision to either take their business to the next level or get out of the trudginess 9 to 5, because you can do it. And if you have that faith, this is the thing. If you are already successful in what you do, if that's particularly your 9 to 5, then what makes you think that you wouldn't be successful working on your own? You've already have shown a habit of excellence. So just take the leap, take the chance, and have mentors. 100% Finance is a really, really great mentor for your company. Juan Pablo is an extremely great mentor for you as a CEO or business owner.
All right, thank you guys. And as always, to your success, continue to earn passively, live passionately. Peace.
Excellent.